Hey y'all, hey, welcome back to the deep dive with Toya Creates. We are going to get into the week of July 20th for the bold and the beautiful. So let's jump right in. Monday, July 20, we start off with preparing for Eric's live stream. Now, it is finally time for him to release his precious couture line that he's been working on ever since he jumped ship from Logan. So, as we know, Logan kind of stole Forrester's thunder the other week with releasing their line right ahead of what was supposed to have been Eric's relaunch. And they revealed that they now have Hope there, in addition to Deke and Will. So the Forresters and the Spencers have been fighting. And so Eric's launch is happening on Monday, and it's a live stream instead of a traditional fashion show. So that is something different for them. And this line is going to focus heavily on Eric's new line and Electra's jewelry line because, oh, thank goodness, her line was not canceled as Ridge had threatened to do over Logan's rollout of their new line with Hope, which made no sense to me from get go. But whatever. Everyone's running around getting ready. Electra is very nervous because this is her first time leading a jewelry line all by herself and without her precious Aunt Ivy. So she's in the I think the design room. I always mix them up. I'm sorry. She's in the design room getting ready and she's nervous, and of course, her knight in shining armor RJ is there. So of course he comes in to check on her, and Electra's just talking about how she's very nervous but excited. And then she also happens to tell RJ how his father, Ridge, told her that she had to pick a side, either Team Forrester or Team Spencer. And RJ agrees with this, of course. And we know that Electra chose Team Forrester. So RJ is very thrilled about that. He's reassuring her that it's time to start putting Will in the past because this girl, Electra, is the worst. But whatever, this girl is still, oh, so confused. She's just a baby. She can't think for herself, blah, blah, blah. I am so over this character. Seriously. But RJ is just tickle pink to hear that Electra has chosen the Foresters, and he tells her that is the best decision that he could make. Now, over at Logan slash Spencer, that team is also ready to watch this live stream so they can check out the competition. Bill is still just over the moon about their launch. He just does not care about what Forrester is doing. He doesn't think they're going to be able to really compete with what they just did. Will is there, but he is just so fixated on Electra. Oh my God. He keeps whining about, oh, it's Electra's big day and we're not together anymore and blah, blah, blah. Bill is like, look, you need to snap out of this Electra Forrester funk. And I agree as well because I'm sick of it. But Will is just very upset about the current state of their relationship, and he just wants her to do well, and he's just missing his boo. Whatever. So then the other storyline going on is that we see Sheila cornering Finn at his office, demanding an update on whether Steffi will allow her into their lives. Now, the week before, it seemed that Finn was going to give in a bit. You know, he told Sheila that he believed that she had changed, and he was hugging her, and he called her mother, and he told her that He loved her. And Sheila just feels like she deserves something because she gave up her whole husband to Steffi's mother. But, Sheila is asking for an update to see if Finn spoke to Steffi, which he did last week. And Finn just flipped the script, in my opinion. Yes, you Liberty Bibberty. He was like, I did talk to Steffi and she put her foot down. That's it. You can't be in our lives. He's sorry, but there's no place for her, and he cannot see Sheila anymore. I'm just like, then he orders Sheila to leave his office and never reach out again. Pete, Finn, when are you gonna grow up here? I mean, I understand the absolute chaos Sheila has brought to the situation. I understand how there's been a legacy of lunacy from Sheila. I like that one, Gobi. But maybe I'm crazy too. Sheila has actually changed, and she has shown that by saving Kelly a few years ago. She has shown that by not losing her, what, when she found out that her man was cheating with this girl's mother, and she signed the divorce papers with no issue whatsoever. The only thing this woman is asking is to have a small, supervised part in her bloodline's life. But Sheila can't even get that. So Finn was like, no. And go away and don't ever reach out again. I know, I'm a sucker, but I feel bad for Sheila. Whatever. We also see Deacon and Taylor at Bikini, which is Deacon's new place of business. Il Giardino, we haven't seen that in a while, but whatever. So he and Taylor are just canoodling and just talking about how great it is that Sheila actually signed the divorce papers. And Taylor questioned Deacon, like, how did you even pull this off? And Deacon explains that he just simply talked to her and he wants Sheila to find happiness as well. And Taylor, with her smart mouth, she's fine with that as long as Sheila finds happiness outside of Finn and Steffi, like having a part in their lives. Girl, whatever, Taylor. Because if you think what you did was okay in this situation, more of the Forrester family or the Forrester sympathizers being complete and utter hypocrites. But I digress. So it's almost time for the live stream, and everyone is tuned in. It's going well. Okay. They're showcasing the new jewelry line. Everyone's watching, like the Forsters are watching from their office, the Logans are watching from their office, and Deacon and Taylor are watching from Bikini. And everything is going really good. They're getting a good reception from the other viewers. Eric is trending, yada, yada, yada. Now, I mean, the designs were fine. The people are saying it was giving quick fashion, Shein, Temu, Walmart, whatever. Nothing wrong with it. Let's be clear. But if you are so, oh my God, we are the pinnacle. We are the upper echelon of the fashion world, and you're rolling this out. But okay, go off. The show goes well. And Team Forrester is just like, yeah, you see, in my ridge voice, Logan will never have that. They'll never have class. That's why Logan can't compete. Whatever. So, yay for them. The show went well. This is when it took a turn. So, there's a reporter. I forget what her name is. And I think she's also on Entertainment Tonight. I don't know. Anyway, she is there interviewing Eric post the show, and Eric only wants to talk about the designs, the fashion and the jewelry. He don't want to talk about nothing else. But guess what this woman wants to talk about? She wants to talk about Logan. She wants to talk about Hope. She wants to talk about Katie. And baby, Eric was plucked. Okay. He he allowed this reporter to bait him into this conversation, and Eric did not mince words. He absolutely lost his cool. He was visibly rattled, visibly furious. He's just like, Logan is trying to steal all of Forrester's thunder. Katie stole Hope away, and she nearly destroyed Brooke in the process. And labeled Katie as dark and evil as her mogul husband. And then he just kept ranting on about how Logan is a cheap knockoff, mimicking their style, and how he dealt with this before with Spectra, and on he was going. So Ridge and Steffi and everyone else is in this room while this interview is going on. It took Ridge forever to drag his daddy off the mic, okay? Finally. Then Steffi follows up and she's like, no more questions. The interview is over. Oh, Deacon and Taylor are shocked to see this. Will is pissed. He's like, nobody talks about my mother like that. Katie and Hope are just looking at each other like, really? We are all these things. Bill is irritated, but he is also relishing in this meltdown. He loves it, okay? So then everyone just tries to calm Eric down, but he stands on it. He's just like, I meant what I said. And Ridge just talks about how this war with Logan is far from over, and that is the only thing that the reporter said that was true. And then we just move on to Tuesday, July 21st. Eric is refusing to celebrate the launch of his line because he's just still upset about what happened. And he talks about how working for Logan was the biggest mistake of his life. Oh, bleeding hearts of the world unite. I'm so sick of this. Honestly. I mean, I love the drama that's coming with this, but I am so disgusted with Eric and his entire family at this point. I've seen some great comments on my thread about it. Someone compared the Forresters to a certain family that's living in the White House. And I'm like, yeah, the Forresters are embodying everything that is wrong with society right now. But I digress. Let's just stick to the soaps. And so, everyone continues to basically gaslight, in my opinion, or not gaslight. They are excusing bad behavior and not holding Eric accountable for what he did. Yes, going to Logan was the biggest mistake of your life, and you continuing to lie about what happened is also the biggest mistake of your life. But let's go on. So Forrester does get good news. Finmore over at Genoa City. Hey, Lauren Finmore wants to pick up Eric's line and the jewelry line. And so that kind of gets him in a more celebratory mood. So it's RJ, it's Zende, Electra, Ridge, Steffi, and Eric. Eric is down for getting his normal celebratory martini. So RJ and Electra are able to convince this 80-year-old man, no offense, to go over to Bikini where all the youngsters are at to go and celebrate with them. Why? But okay. Over at Logan, Bill loves how the reporter got under Eric's skin, but Will is fuming. He is insulted by what Eric said about his mother, and he's just like, Eric should be ashamed of himself. And I agree with Will. Okay, so everyone at Logan is not really worried about the fashions and the jewelry. They are just more so focusing on Eric's outburst and what that could mean for publicity. And Katie and Hope are just offended and upset with what was said. Now, nonetheless, Deke and Will decide to go get a drink at Bikini as well. Okay, so as we see, they are on a collision course. Forrester and Logan. Deacon will get there first, and Deacon greets them at the door. I think Dylan also showed up as well. Now, why wasn't Dylan at Forrester? She is Electra's assistant. Wouldn't she be there during this event? But whatever, she's working her part-time today, so she shows up, and Deacon and Taylor just basically recap the interview debacle. She's just like, oh, how did it go? And Deacon was like, it was fine until Eric threw a temper tantrum, and Deacon is not pleased. He tells Deke this once they arrive as well. Deacon will. And Deacon is upset that Eric was talking trash about his son and his daughter, but Deke is gonna keep it cute. He's lost in love with Taylor, so he's not gonna do anything. So as I said, Deke and Will arrive first, and they get their table and they're getting their little drinks or whatever. Then we see RJ, Electra, and Eric enter. Now, Team Forrester does not see Team Logan just yet. Of course, it is when Electra sits down on that usual lounging couch where they are in Bikini. Oh, she locks eyes with Will's. Oh, Will's looking at her. She's looking at him. It's the longing look. Now, they don't say anything to each other. Okay? They're just staring. And Eric and RJ don't see Will at first. So then, after some uncomfortable staring, Deke also picks up on it. And he's like, Will, just go talk to Electra. And then at this point, Electra creates a reason to get up and go to the bar. She's like, well, you guys, I'm gonna go get some drinks. Do you want some? So she goes over to the bar, and Will is on her like white or rice immediately. And Electra's like, what are you doing, Will? You know we're not supposed to talk to each other. As if she didn't go over there to that bar to get closer to that boy. But whatever, girl, play your little stupid game. So Will is in the middle of just pleading his case to Electra. I am so sick of him begging this girl as well. But, he's just talking about how apologetic he is, how he wants to talk to her, yada, yada, yada. Then we see Eric Pete, Will, and Electra at this bar. And Eric's like, oh, no, Will is talking to Electra. I need to get up and break it up. Why? I Okay, so RJ's like, no, you just stay here. I'll go and talk to them instead. And oh my God, it starts to go downhill from there. The second RJ goes over there, of course they start arguing. Of course. So Electra is begging both men not to make a scene, and then she leaves them alone so she could go and talk to Eric. At this point, Deacon is going into the kitchen to check up on some work, and he tells Deke, keep an eye on those two. Basically, don't let them tear up my restaurant. And he should ask somebody else because Deke was useless. So, of course, things escalate with Will and RJ trading barbs. They start shoving each other. Eric goes over there to break it up. He's just like, you know what, Will? Why don't you go home? You're a low life, just like your dad. I mean, it was like crazy. RJ's going back and forth as well. He's pushing Will. So Will throws a punch. And RJ ducks, and you know who catches it, right? in the face. Eric, Eric is down for the count. Everyone's like, oh my God. I mean, okay, at least this time RJ was willing to fight. Okay, he had his hands up because he talks too much trash to always be getting knocked out. Basically, I was like, if you don't know how to fight, keep your mouth shut. But he was, he was there and he ducked. Now that's a reflex because, I mean, he did what he was supposed to do, but his grandfather ate it as a result. Eric had no business inserting himself in this anyways. And Deke, as I said, was absolutely useless. He should have he should have started um mitigating this a while ago. He was just sitting there watching the show, letting it escalate. So the Eric is on the ground. He's not knocked out, but he has a bruise immediately. Dylan is gasping in the corner. Taylor's gasping at the table. Deke is just looking. Eric's on the ground. Electra is just, oh, Will, how could you? Did you not see what happened, girl? Whatever. Let's just move on to Wednesday because I just can't with this girl. Hump Day, July 22nd. So, of course, we pick up right where we left off with Eric on this ground and Will being the assailant. Clearly, it was an accident as Will was trying to hit RJ. And Will keeps explaining that. He is not pleased with what he did. He's like, oh my God, Eric, it was an accident. I'm so sorry. Will goes over to try to help, but RJ's blocking him. It's just everyone else is running over, like Taylor and Deacon. Deacon's like, what the hell happened? And people like, Will hit Eric. No one's saying it was an accident except for Will. And then Will is begging Electra to tell the room this was an accident. Now, what does she do? Silence. Will, this is the girl you want to be with. She don't even have your back. Not ever. She knew that was an accident. Everybody in there knew it was an accident. And I'm tired of them painting Will out to be some violent thug or something. It was an accident, and RJ antagonizes him and causes these things. He started pushing Will first. He started it. But whatever. No one is really listening to Will, which is making me even more upset. Eric is okay, thankfully. They think he hit his head on the table too. Like, Will is good for that. Knocking these Forresters on their tail and having them hit the table. But it seems like Eric is okay eventually. But Electra just, again, she left Will in the trenches and just let that baby take all of the heat for this. So then we jump over to Logan, where Katie and Bill are talking. Bill is just so happy with everything that's going on. He is giddy over the fact that the public is turning Eric's outburst into internet memes, and he's showing it to Katie, and Katie is just not here for it because apparently Katie viewed Eric as like a pseudo father. As we know, the Logan sisters were abandoned by their father many, many moons ago, and he just never returned to help take care of the family. And so Katie really cherished her relationship with Eric, and she's just really hurt by all of it. So that prompts Bill to turn it down a notch and be a good husband. He's doing a great job of empathizing with Katie. She's just saying how she never wanted anything like this to happen. She holds Eric to a high regard and this and that, but Bill had to give her some hard truths. He was like, but that's clearly only one-sided based on how Eric basically dragged you on a global scale, because Katie was also talking about like she's not happy being labeled as a liar, as a thief, and as someone with no style. Like she is really struggling with how upset Eric is. But I'm like, girl, I agree with Bill. Like, or also, I agree with Katie. The way she was telling Hope that it was her time, and if Brooke has a problem, she just has a problem. Take your own advice, Katie. If Eric has a problem, he just has a damn problem. You paid him. He agreed to work with you. He came running to Logan. I'm so sick of this. So I agree with Bill. Katie, you need to view this in a different light. Clearly, the level of respect that you have for Eric and the others, they clearly do not have for you. Next, we go to the Forrester office where we see Ridge working on some designs. He's alone, and you know who is finally back from this wellness retreat. Brooke is in the doorway, sneaking up on Ridge to surprise him, and of course, he's very thrilled to have his precious Destiny back. And, they talk about everything that has happened. But this time, Brooke is focused on Eric's post show meltdown. She comments on how she's never seen him this angry. And, this is part of the reason why she's back. She felt her Forrester family needed her. And so here she is. Now, Ridge talks about, he talks about the situation for a little bit, but Ridge is totally over it as well. He's just like, you know what? I don't want to talk about that anymore. I just want to talk about us being back, in each other's space since Brooke has been gone for so long. And he wants to relish in that for a while. Okay, whatever. So then we go back to Bikini. Eric is finally up on his feet. He didn't get knocked out or anything, but he has a lovely shiner just right on his face. And so he's making his way out at this point. And Will is trying to apologize to Eric, but he does not want to hear it. He was basically like, hush, okay? I don't want to hear it. Save it and stay completely away from Electra. And he says that before walking out. No sooner does Eric walk out, Will is up in Electra's face, trying to apologize, trying to talk. And this time, RJ was activated because he punched Will dead in his mouth and knocked him to the ground. I was like, I was shocked. And of course, Electra was shocked. She just stood there, mouth agape, talking. But where was oh my God, RJ, you're so violent. Where was that energy? Because she didn't say any of that. So RJ is proud of himself, and he was like, that punch was payback for my elderly grandfather. And he told Will he was total scum. And Electra again just standing there as Will continues to plead with her. This is pissing me off so much. I'm like, stop talking to her. She clearly is not down for you, Will, at all. I just. So after this, RJ texts his parents about what is going on. Brooke and Ridge are still at the office and they're just chatting, and Brooke gets this text and she's like, oh my God, Eric's been hit. And Ridge was like, who punched my father? And Brooke said, Will. And they run out to meet Eric. I think he's on his way home at this point because he doesn't want to go to the hospital. He thinks he's fine, whatever. So they are on their way there. Katie is at Logan just processing the events of the day. She reminisces about better times with Eric, how he was telling her how he was so proud of her and this and that. And that is interrupted when Deke finally texts Katie and says, Will hit what? Now Katie's out the door. It's just a mess. So then let's go back to Bikini and wrap this day up. So Will is on the ground, getting up with a bloody mouth and wiping that. And RJ orders Will to leave Electra alone. Okay. Will continues to plead his case to Electra, and she finally speaks. She's like, I don't care about your apologies, Will, because your violence terrifies me. Again, did RJ's violence terrify you? He drew blood. But okay. Anyways, and then Will is just shocked to hear all of this. And she finally, he's just shocked. Sorry, he's shocked. He wants, he's telling her that their families are trying to tear them apart. He's like, let's run away together. All of the things. And Electra's like, no, never. Never is what she tells him. She's like, when you use your words, you're the man that I fell in love with, but this violence, I can't deal with it. And your actions cut both ways. So she tells him it is over and that they're never going to get back together again. And she walks out with RJ while Will is just flabbergasted. He is shocked. He's like, no, no, don't walk out with him. No. And she just turns and she just leaves with her cousin. And Will is just back at a table at Bikini with Dylan looking on. And he just starts crying. And I'm just like, oh, my baby is so sad. I hate this for him. But please let this be the end of them, because Electra and Will are not good together. She is too prim and proper. She does not want to accept this man for who he is. And he is, you would have thought she's the only woman on planet Earth. He is too whipped behind this girl, and she is not worth any of this, because when it comes down to it, she clearly does not have Will's back. On to Thursday, July 23rd. So, Ridge and Brooke arrive at the estate and they're greeted by Donna right before Eric, RJ, and Electra arrive right after them. So, of course, they're catching up on everything and just continuing to badmouth Will and the Spencers. Not much to get into there. Meanwhile, Katie, after she left that office, she went right over to Will's house. And she was like, I heard what happened at Bikini. So then Will starts talking about it, and he is clearly upset about his actions. He knows what he did was wrong, even though it was an accident. He admits that. Sorry, thumbs up. He knows it was an accident, but he is still ready to take accountability for his actions. This is the difference between Forresters and Logans slash Spencers. Let me say Spencers. Will knows what happened. He took accountability for it. He's apologetic and he's ready for whatever consequence comes, because at the end of the day, he still hit Eric, accident or not. Now, Katie knows that this was an accident and her son is not like that, but she's just upset that the cousins are fighting again. She's telling Will that RJ keeps baiting you into violence, and violence is never the answer. And Katie is not proud of his behavior. And she points out Eric is an old man with health issues. She's just like, she just can't believe it. She knows it was an accident, but she does not want him to keep losing control like this. And she's disappointed that she raised a son who would rather solve his issues with his hands instead of his head. So Katie just leaves him with that and she leaves. And Will is there. He's just really down in the dumps. He's upset with being painted as a violent Neanderthal, because that's how he feels like he is being painted by everyone else, and he's just upset. So he just sits at the window and drinks some more beer and just licks his wounds for the most part. He has some pictures of him and Electra on his little what do you call it? Oh god, I guess the fireplace mantle. That's the word. And he lit a little tea candle under it. I was like, is this your frienda? What is this? My man is now bad, okay? He is depressed over this girl. So then, as he's lighting the candle and just, Dylan's at the door. Now, girl, what is the temperature in LA? I thought it's relatively warm or like a decent temperature. She showed up. Now she had on not a slip dress, but just like a dress with this thick, furry coat that was like suede on top of it. I don't know what they're doing with the wardrobe at the Bold of the Beautiful. Last week, this girl was running around the town in a trench coat and lingerie like the entire week. Went to Bikini, went to work confused. Dylan now pops up in a normal dress for the temperature in the season. It's July, but the suede furry coat was throwing me. But whatever. She shows up for her man, Will. She's there to check on him. Will is venting that his mother's horrified at him. Electra is totally afraid of him. He is panicked that he has caused irreparable damage to Katie and Brooke. So Will is just really going through it, but Dylan is listening and she's assessing the bruise on his face after RJ punched him. Now, people say what they want to say about Dylan, but she is down for Will. And as the mother of a son, that's very important because Dylan immediately understood and recognized this was an accident. She knows Will. She knows he's not some violent thug like they are trying to pay him out to be. And so she leaned on that firsthand knowledge, as opposed to Electra just, I'm just gonna do what the Forresters tell me to do, and I'm just gonna believe what they say about Will and not my own eyes. Girl. Anyways, so Dylan's listening now. Dylan is also pushing up on Will very aggressively. I'm not even gonna lie about that because I forgot to mention before she went over there, Jessica, the hostess at Bikini, stopped by and she was like, "Man, on my night off, I miss all the drama." Of course, she's talking about Will accidentally hitting Eric. Now, even this girl, Jessica, was like, "I know it was an accident because Will's not like that." Electra, why is it every other woman can see that your man is not violent unless provoked, but you? But whatever. So Jessica told Dylan, look, girl, now is your time, especially since you love Will. Electra told him it was over. She told everybody in this building it is official. So Jessica was like, Dylan, you need to go over there and shoot your shot. And that is exactly what Dylan did. And I'm not all the way mad at it. I mean, she was on him and he was resisting. He's still very much thinking about Electra, which is normal, or I mean, can people just be by themselves on this show? Do you have to have a significant other? But whatever. But I would much rather Will be with Dylan than Electra because Electra's going to get that man locked up one day. But yeah, that is basically what happened with Dylan and Will on Thursday as well. So let's wrap this up. So the Forsters are all in the living room, checking up on Eric, talking crap about the Spencers, just talking about the situation. Now RJ takes full accountability for causing the fight that led to Eric getting punched. What do you think Eric said to him? Oh no, it's not your fault. Yes, it is. Am I living in the Twilight Zone? So RJ finally does the right thing and says, it was my fault. And they were like, no, it wasn't. This is how delusion starts. Okay? This is crazy to me. No one in that room said, RJ, you were accountable for this. Not one person. Not even Electra. She just sat there tight-lipped for the most part. But then they started going in on Will a little too much, and she was like, well, Will didn't do it on purpose. And they were like, shut up, girl. Hush. Yes, he did. Basically, and she, because she's just gonna go along with whatever they say. So they are still talking, and Katie is at the door. Once again, she didn't have to knock, she didn't ring a doorbell, she just turned the doorknob. Why on earth are these people so unprotected? It takes nothing to lock a door. You can even buy the electronic locks that you can just lock from your phone. I don't understand it, but whatever. There she was, and the room was like. So Katie is there, and she is apologizing profusely to Eric and this damn family. Girl, Katie, you've been doing so well. I mean, yes, an apology is deserved just out of respect because Will accidentally hit Eric in the face. But this begging and pleading these people after the way they treated you, absolutely not. But there she was, begging, oh, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And of course, the Forresters do not want to hear any of it. They tell Katie she should not be there. And basically, Will is a degenerate just like your husband. And Katie's like, don't talk about my son like that. And she said it was an accident and that Will is absolutely sick of her. But then here comes Brooke, y'all. Ooh, Brooke been waiting for this. This wellness retreat did not mellow her out, not one bit. Brooke is just like, oh, well, what about the last time he hit RJ? Oh, she's just bringing up all of that. She agrees that Will, her own freaking nephew, is a degenerate, is unhinged, blah, blah, blah. The Forresters openly threaten to press charges and saying that Will needs to be restrained. And if Katie and Bill won't do it, someone else needs to. And they all agree. And again, Electra is sitting her goofy ass there, tight lipped, silent. Oh, so then this is going on, and Brooke delivers a final ultimatum because Katie's like, we shouldn't be at each other's throats like this. We are family. Can we not get past this? And Brooke was like, guess what? You're no longer a part of this family. Logan's, Forresters, which one? Let's just say Brooke told Katie she was no longer part of the Logans slash Foresters. And I'm just like, huh. And Brooke said it's because Katie sold her soul to the Spencers and she is out officially. Friday, July 24th. Let's start with Will and Dylan. They are still going back and forth, and Will is just trying to resist the urge to give into Dylan's advances. While Dylan is still comforting him, still showing that she is Team Will. You know, she's just telling him how he is a great man. He saved her life. She will always have his back. She would never walk away from him. She's tried to be friends with Electra, but Electra just overreacts and she just doesn't get it. And Electra only likes you, Will, when you are being obedient and she's not accepting you for who you are. So Will is eventually broken down by this and he tells her like, look, Dylan, I can't promise you anything because I'm like, he just broke up with the girl, but I would rather Will be with Dylan than Electra. And then they start kissing. And he starts removing his clothes. I was like, oh my good, my eyes. He's a baby. And then he takes her to the counter and they just keep at it. And then they move to the couch. So it is very apparent what Will and Dylan are finally doing on the couch. And that's basically it for them. So the major thing that happened on Friday, because I'm like, we don't even have to make this one long, was Katie literally being banished from the family. So in the past episode, Brooke told her they were no longer family. And I was just like, whoop, that's a lot. Cause these Logan sisters, thick as thieves. I thought it was only a couple of months ago. Well, what, Q1 2026, when they were all celebrating Katie and Bill getting married and they were just, ooh, they were a unit. But no, Brooke said, yeah, out. Now, how can Brooke kick anyone out the family? But okay, Katie's just stunned, and she starts crying like she do. And Brooke, she's just doubling down on it. You are no longer a part of this family because of the House of Logan and Will hitting Eric. And please tell your hothead son to stay away from Electra. And also you, Katie, you stay away from Forresters and anything Forrester related. Who the hell does Brooke think she and everyone around her just enables the behavior. They are literally just standing there and staring. So then Katie goes over to Eric, he's not standing, he's seated. And Katie is begging this man to please tell the truth. Please say that you were the one who came over to Logan. You told me you were proud of me. You told me this was going to be a success, that we would be raising our hands at the end of the runway together. Please, Eric, please tell them I'm about to lose my sisters. I'm going to lose my family behind this. And that mother all he does is ask Donna to take him upstairs so he could go to bed. So then Katie was like, yeah, okay, that's right. Walk away like you did the last time. And here comes Rich. Oh, I know you're not yelling at my father like that after the day that he has had. Oh, first it's the reporter, and then your punk son punched him in the face. And Katie once again was like, don't you talk about my son like this. Now, let me stop right here and there. Let me tell you what. If these mofos would have been talking about my baby like that, I would have turned that whole living room every way, every which way but loose. Ridge could have got it too. Anybody, I would have punched him in his face too. I would have shown them where the family violence comes from. You thought it was Bill, but guess what? Because a mother and her son? No, absolutely not. But Ridge doubles down on this, and again, the room is silent. I was so freaking mad. Like, Katie, why did you do this? So then Donna's back downstairs after tucking her little honey bear in upstairs, and she jumps in Katie's face too because Donna was put in the middle of this situation. Unfortunately, I mean she was. She knew about let's back up a little bit, Donna. Donna knew about Eric going over to Logan. She didn't say a mumbling word to anybody, but that was fine, apparently. And Donna also knew about Hope going over to Logan, and she kept her mouth shut about that as well. But that was not okay for the Forcers. they have a selective memory about the way things have transpired, but whatever. So Donna is basically Team Forrester and Team Brooke. She tells Katie, never again. You put me in an impossible situation and you caused all of this. Everyone was blaming Katie. I was like, I cannot be watching the same story. And when people come in my comments and they're like, now they are few and far in between. But I genuinely don't understand when they're like the Forsters are so great. I'm like, are we looking at the same show? And then I'm also very honestly, I'm curious as to why you have that outlook. Please tell me. I genuinely want to know. There's no smoke, there's no drama. I love hearing other people's opinions. And I would love to hear the thought process because for me, the Forsters are terrible, horrible people. They embody everything that I hate about rich, pompous, narcissistic, hypocritical liars. I can't stand it. So it really hurt my heart to see Katie bend the knee to these people and beg for their forgiveness. They have done her so wrong. Brooke can't forgive Katie, but Brooke slept with every man on the planet, including Bill. She married Bill. She got pregnant by Bill. What? And Katie forgave that. She should have never forgave it. And Brooke could stand there and say that Katie's the problem. I Girl, Hope is only here because you slept with your daughter's husband, you whore. I can't. So, because of all of those feelings and the clear hypocritical nature of this, I was livid on Friday. Like, Katie, I cannot believe you did this. So, whatever. Donna is firmly Team Forrester, Team Brooke, and she even said, now, this is what blew me. Donna had the gall to tell Katie that this entire situation reminded her of how it felt when their father walked out on them and never came back. Then Brooke was like, our mother would be disgusted. And this is disrespectful to Storm. Huh? Storm the thief? Because the only reason why the heart was available because his ass got shot doing crime. And then the heart went to Katie. But now you're like, damn, you just wish Katie was dead? Because that's how I took it too. I I was floored to hear and to see this. I'm like, are they dead ass serious right now? They are dead ass. So Brooke and Donna are on one side together, and Katie's right here. And Katie was just like, after Donna brought up, this felt like uh the day our daddy left, Katie was like, you know what? Just because I wanted to step out of Brooke's shadow, I'm getting all of this treatment. And all Katie ever wanted was for her sisters to be proud of her. But she was like, you know what? I will always love you guys, even if you can't love me. And then she turns around and she leaves. And Brooke tells Katie goodbye. So that door closes and Donna folds immediately into Brooke's arms, just sobbing. And Katie's on the other side of the Forrester door doing the same. But damn it, I look, sometimes you got to cut family off. And Katie's family is very toxic towards her. They clearly don't respect her or her son. They damn sure don't care about her husband. But I'm just like, I truly hope that Katie is done with this and she better not ever go groveling to them again. They are not worth it. And Katie, you deserve to shine. I hope Logan blows them out of the water. Really. Because That was, ugh, that was low key painful to watch on Friday. So, yes, that was the week of what, July 20th? And what a week it was. I know some people think it's boring or they're over it, but I am intrigued. My interest is piqued. I have never seen a full-on fashion war on the bold and the beautiful, and I'm ready. I love the additional element of it being basically a family civil war. So I am ready for Katie to take these highfalutin Foresters down. Okay? I don't want to see any Forrester at Logan, but I already saw in the preview that Steffi's going to be there berating Hope again. Girl, I would just call security because no. But yeah, and I saw in the preview that Electra is talking to Dylan, and she's like, "Please tell me you didn't." So I can only think that she's talking about Will and Electra hooking up. And so what, girl? It's over. You chose your family. You want to go kiss your cousin? Go do that. It don't matter what Dylan and Will are doing at this point. You ended it. Get over it. Go kiss RJ. Also, what happened to RJ and Dylan? What was the point of that? Do you think something's gonna like come of this later? Because as far as I know, they didn't. But it looked like RJ wanted to, but Dylan pumped the brakes on that, and then they were supposed. That was the date. Oh, okay, and then we didn't see anything else from them, and now RJ's back to chasing Electra, and Dylan's back to chasing Will. What was the point of that? Someone tell me. Whatever. So yeah, I am ready for this week. I hope it's just as exciting as last week. And I'll see you guys the next time.